All right, for this video, we're gonna do a brief lesson on a matrix, or we can say the plural for this is what's called matrices. And a matrix, you can see, you kind of have brackets, and it basically is another chart that we kind of use to organize data. We're going to keep it real basic, where the only thing we're going to do, we're going to take a look at two matrices, and we're going to add or subtract them, or we're going to look at one matrix, and we're just going to multiply it. And when you see how to do it, it's very, very, very simple. We'll do more applications of this in class, like why we use this and how we use it in word problems. Okay, now before we even add or subtract, you can see I have this example that I have in green. When you look at a matrix, you can only add or subtract two matrices if they have the same number of rows and columns. So if I looked at this first one in green, I have, let's see here, this is 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows. So I say I have 3 rows, and I have, let's see here, this is just one column, this is the second column. So when I kind of classify this matrix, I say this is a 3 by 2 matrix, meaning I have 3 rows and I have 2 columns. Okay, that would kind of be your dimensions, I guess you could say, your dimensions of the matrix. How many rows, how many columns. So if I were to add something, if I put a plus, if I were to add another matrix to it, it has to be another 3 by 2 matrix. Okay, here's an example. Let's look at the first one. Well, if I look at these two matrices, I only have 1 row and I have 2 columns. Right? This is 1 row, 2 columns. Now it's real easy. I just subtract the numbers that are in the corresponding positions. So top left, this one's top left, I'm going to subtract them. So I'm going to end up with the same dimension of matrix. I'm going to end up with I'm going to put this 1 by 2 matrix. And all I do is, okay, I'm going to even show the work in it. I just take this 4 and do 4 minus negative 4. So I have 4 minus negative 4. I'm going to draw another matrix here. Well, this would be adding a sign. 4 plus 4 is 8. I'll put a little comma here. Then for the second column, I have 1 minus negative 1. So I'll just write here 1 minus negative 1. Well, when you subtract the negative, same thing, add a line, change the sign. 1 plus 1 is 2. So this is your answer. It's still a 1 by 2 matrix. So 8, 2, those are the elements that are in the matrix. Okay, if I did, it's very, very simple. If I did number 2, all I do is, right, I add negative 2 plus this 5. I add negative 2 plus this 1. I add 3 plus this 4, and 6 plus this 0. I just add the elements that are in the same corresponding positions. And this matrix, let's see here, this again would be 1 row, and we have what, 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. So it's a 1 by 4 matrix. So if we do this, let's do this real quick. I'm not even going to put the work here for it. I'll just use the arrows again. Negative 2 plus 5, that would give me 3. Negative 2 plus 1, that gives me negative 1. 3 plus 4 gives me 7. And 6 plus 0, that gives me 6. So that's my answer right there. Not a whole lot of thinking going on. Okay, I'm going to go down to number 6. And number 6 looks odd because if I came up with the dimensions, for number 6, this first one, that is a, let's see, you have 3 rows and 1 column. So this is a 3 by 1 matrix. But for this one, you have, let's see here, 1, 2, 3 rows and 2 columns, so it's 3 by 2. So you can't do this. You can't add these. They are different dimensions. They don't have the same number of rows and columns. So we just say this is undefined. You can't add these. Okay, let's go to the back side where you are doing what is called scalar multiplication. All right, scalar multiplication, really all this is you distribute. If you look at this, you have a matrix, and then there's a number on the outside of the matrix. All you do is you multiply everything in here by the matrix by this 3. And you end up with the same dimensions of the matrix. So this one you have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows and 1 column. So you're going to end up with, I'll put here, you're going to end up with a 4 by 1 matrix. Okay, so I'll do this. So it's just like, kind of like one long list. All right, so if I multiply these, right, I do 3 times -5, that's -15. I do 3 times 2, that gives me 6. 3 times this 3, that gives me 9. And 3 times this -4, that gives me -12. And there it is. There's my 4x1 matrix. That's my answer right there. Okay, if you looked at number 8, man, number 8 would be real easy. You just distribute 3 to this 4 and 5. So this is, let's see, this is 1 row, 2 columns. So you're going to end up with a 1x2 matrix. So here's your answer, right? 3 times this 4 is just 12. 3 times this 5 is 15. And that's it. You're done. Okay, so the whole math that you're doing is very, 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 very simple. We will just kind of take a look, more of a look at class to say, all right, why are we doing this? Why are we using matrices? How can matrices be used? Ciao.